Good morning. Good morning, America. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Jones, and today I just want to take a little time and just to share a little bit from my heart. Typically, the Beyond the Ball podcast, what we focus on is stories, strategies, and success for student athletes. However, I'd be extremely remiss in if I did not use this time to shine light just on what's taking place in America, as we all have seen if we have not been living under a rock currently, with the late murder of Mr. George Floyd, and just seeing the protests, seeing the riots. So I just want to take this time just to speak on the topic of Dear America, Black Lives Still Matter. Because this morning I happened to be reading my Bible devotional, and I found myself here in the book of Luke, chapter 10. And for those of you who would like to just refer to the scripture, it's 10, and the text is verse 25 through 27, and it talks about the Good Samaritan. And I want to read just a little bit for you all today, because it was Jesus out having a conversation with a few people, and then summing it up, then Jesus begins to tell a story. And he says, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, they beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. And a priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by him on the other side. So the man is beaten, he's bruised, he's battered, he's on the side of the road. The priest sees him, looks down, walks away. Then it says, so too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, he passed him on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and he saw him, and he took pity on him. He went to him in bandle and wine, and he put the man on his own donkey. So this man was riding on the donkey. He got off to put the beat man, the battered man, the bruised man. And then he brought him to an inn and took care of him. So he gave up his own donkey. He brought him to the inn and paid for him to be at the inn and took care of him. And then it says the next day, I never caught this. Dad, I never caught this. It says the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave it to the innkeeper and said, look after him. And he said, when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. So first there was 2 people that saw this man on the side of the road, beat down, battered, bruised. 2 people passed him by first. And then another gentleman came by, and I think it's so important in this to break down the fact that he was a Samaritan, because typically there's no relation here. And then it said he bandaged his wounds, he poured the oil, but then he said he took him to the inn, but then he said the next day. So that meant he spent the night with this man. That meant that throughout the night, if the man needed anything, he was there. That meant through this time of pain, through this time of agony, through this time of hurt, this man was beside him to serve him. This man was there if he needed anything, or for another terms, this man was there so he would lack nothing. Okay. And I wanted to share that this morning because just in the wake of everything that's taking place, America, he was beaten. He was cast down. He was cast out. And my name is Jonathan Jones, but my name could be switched and inserted into that text. And I also couldn't go without doing this. My name is Jonathan Jones, but my name could be Tamir Rice. My name could be Breonna Taylor. My name could be George Floyd. My name could be Trayvon Martin. My name could be Ahmaud Arbery. My name could be Eric Gardner, and Tiana Jefferson, Sandra Bland, just to mention a few. But the thing I wanted to shine light on here today, because I had the privilege of being on a call just yesterday with 30 plus coaches all across the country, if they be black, if they be white, um, and together, and we had peaceful conversation. Because I think one area that we're struggling with right now, and I'm going to speak behalf on my generation. It's we want change and we want it right now. We want to move on, like we want everything that took place over however long, like, because if you poke the bear long enough, the bear will retaliate. If you poke people too long, they will retaliate. America, we're the man in the story. We've been beaten on the side of the road. We've been battered. We've been bruised. We've been left for dead. And there was one point in history, and I'm bringing this up just as we continue to have this conversation, but there was one point to where we were considered 3/5 of a person. So that people out there now, and people are trying to find solutions. I understand people are protesting, and there's even some different things that's taking place, rioting, looting, things of that nature. At the same time, I'm not necessarily condoning it, but I cannot judge how people are reacting because people are tired of getting beaten. People, we need to. This is systemic, but at the same time, this is a hard issue. We have to take the time, and we have to begin to have conversations that are uncomfortable. We have to begin to think about those people who we know, who have been the individual in the story, who have been casted out, who has been bruised, who has been battered, who has been beaten. We have to begin to think about those people and reach out, call, check in on their mental health. Because, my friends, it is extremely difficult. And I can speak from my stance because I'm 6'5". I'm an African American in America. And it hurts me to see people who have more value for a sport as opposed to an individual's life. It truly hurts to just begin to think that we're more upset that people are speaking out and people are seeking justice, and that people are coming from a place for just equality. I saw a post the other day. It said we just want equality. America should be grateful that we don't want to get even. We don't want revenge. When I saw that blew my absolute mind. So today, I wanted to share this. And as you can see, I have this website right here, https://blacklivesmatter.carrd.co/. And I wanted to share that because there are a lot of people who are in a place and in a space to where they're trying to figure out, well, what do I do? What's my part? And that's why I wanted to do this broadcast, because I wanted to share with you all. The other day, I've been numb. I've been numb because this is not an isolated incident. And understanding that, I think that's the part that's really plagued me. And here recently, because I over time, I internalize things. Okay, so I'm like a duck on water. Sometimes you can see the duck on top of the water. Everything's smooth sailing. Everything's fine. But under the bottom, the duck's feet are moving, just trying to stay up and keep moving through the water. So I've been numb, but I have to remain hopeful. Because I remain hopeful knowing that my hope is not in this world. My hope is in my belief in Jesus Christ. But we need prayer and we need action. I was talking with my dad the other day. My dad, Dr. Fred Jones, he said, my generation believes in prayer. And I said, my generation believes faith without works is dead. So today, those people who are looking for a place to start. I want to just share this with you. This site, like I said, the Black Lives Matter site .card/co, and I want to share that with you because on this particular site, there are some resources to where you have the opportunity to where you can justice to 668366, and by way of you doing that, that will allow you to be a part of a petition, or you can even go right here and text Floyd to 55156. Outside of that, you can get in contact with the district attorney and Minneapolis mayor and leave a message demanding for officers, for the 4 officers. And I wanted to just drop that website there for you. But that's a website that is a resource, right? That's a website that's a resource. But today I wanted to come to you and I want to just challenge you. If you have not seen the film 13th, I would encourage you to watch that film, because seeing the statistics, seeing how culture and how society has viewed African Americans for far too long. And I want to share this last story and then I'll be closing. But I want you all just to imagine. I want you to imagine I want you to imagine getting up and getting dressed for work, or getting up, getting dressed to go to the store. And then you don't put on casual wear. You don't put on like a basic t-shirt. You don't put on slides or anything like that. But you then go to the back of the closet and you put on your best suit. Then you go down and you put on your best shoes. And then you make sure that you're top notch. You make sure that you're dressed. And then you're driving and you look to the left and you see a police officer, and now you're telling yourself, well, don't make any sudden moves. Well, I don't want to jerk because I don't want to make them think anything. You're telling everyone in the car, just look forward. Don't look to the side. Don't look at the officer. Just stay here. Just stay forward. Just continue to move forward. America, that's what we face. Because our community, when we feel endangered, when we feel fearful, the first call we have is not going to be to the cops. It's because there's been a level of fear that's been instilled in us just based on the events that we've seen and that's been portrayed heavily on the news, heavily on the airways. And then now, as people are speaking up, seeking justice, and others are speaking their voice, other people are telling them, just stick to coaching. Don't bring politics here. Just stick to coaching. Don't bring that over here. People, it all comes together. You can't have our culture. You can't have our style. You can't have our music. You can't have our food. You can't take everything that makes us us, and everything that contributes to our culture and everything that we embody, but say you don't want the person. So America, today, I want to encourage you to first educate yourself. That's why I have this website right here, blacklivesmatter.card.co/. There's resources there. There's further information there. But even outside of that, let's have some uncomfortable conversations. The past few days, I've reached out to a few friends of mine who are Caucasian gentlemen. I've reached out just seeking just to create a dialogue, just to begin to get the conversation going. And after educating yourself, then I would encourage you just to find your place in the movement. As I read from the text earlier in Luke chapter 10 about the Good Samaritan, just a few scriptures up, Jesus tells the men to love your neighbor as yourself. Love your black neighbor. Love your brown neighbor. Love your neighbor that does not look like you. Because I'm a believer of Christ, that we're called to love. The text tells us people should know you by your love. So how are you loving today, my friends? How well are you loving today? If you see your brother, your sister on the side of the road who's beaten, who's battered, who's bruised, are you seeing how you can support them? You can put them on your donkey. You can bring them to the inn. Or are you going to be the other two gentlemen that just pass them by? Because I know if the shoe was on the other foot, I would not want to be the one beat down, battered, bruised. Because now is the time to use our voices, to use our platforms. This isn't about your brand right now. This isn't about your pulpit. This isn't about your congregation. This is about us being human beings. This is about us caring well for one another in society. Are you up for that challenge? It's gonna cost us something all. It's gonna cost all of us something. If it be uncomfortability, if it be unfollowers, if it be people who just don't agree, I would charge you today to love well. My name is Jonathan Jones. This has been Beyond the Ball. Dear America, Black lives still matter.